Hello everyone, it's Matt from Akuma Mods back again with our review of the Sunlu FilaDryer S2. That is right. So Sunlu decided to go back to the drawing board with their filament dryers and make some major improvements. Now, did they do good? Well, we'll have to see about that. I'll tell you about it right now. So right now, I will say that the design compared to the original one, I like this a lot better. Now, there are two colors of this filament dryer or FilaDryer. And obviously, I went with the black one because, well, I like that color. It looks very, very nice in this. Now, you can also get this in white in their traditional color, but in my opinion, the black just looks that much better. May just be me. That's completely up to you guys. I'll let you decide for yourself. But basically, they did make some major improvements over their previous model. Now, if you guys do or do not remember the review that we did on the original FilaDryer S1, basically, one of the major issues that I had was it did not have a backlit LED. Obviously this one does, and I know it's kind of hard for you guys to see, and I'm just gonna kind of go through everything, and I'll get it close up for you guys to see everything exactly how it is. But I will say that it is a major improvement that they not only did a backlit LED, they also improved the screen by putting all the information right at your fingertips, which is really, really awesome. I absolutely love that because I'm not having to fiddle around and go through this screen and that screen and trying to figure out what screen is what and everything like that. This is just, you set it, everything is good, and that's basically it. So I will say that this filament dryer works tremendously better over the S1. And that's partially due because the original FilaDryer S1 just had a heating element on the bottom, whereas this one has one on the bottom and it has one on the top, which makes for very, very even heating. This was one of the issues that was brought up consistently by people who were using their FilaDryer S1 and just kind of reporting back to them. It kind of works, but the issue is the top half wasn't getting the same amount of heat as the bottom. And that's basically what I was seeing later on down the road, that, you know, sometimes it just didn't work, especially if it was kind of colder down here in my basement. We just weren't seeing the same consistent temperatures as we were like during the summertime. Obviously, because we had the external heat to help us all out. So I'm just going to kind of go through the basic features of how everything is, and we'll show it up close so you guys can see everything that I'm kind of talking about. So right now there is a handful of information on the front of the screen, and like I said, everything is all at your fingertips. So it's very, very easy, very simple to use for anybody that's looking to get in here. So on here we have PV. That's basically your temperature that you are setting that you want it to go to, and that's what it's telling you that your temperature is going to go to. So you set that, and then that basically will tell you, all right, we set it at this temperature, it's good to go. So that temperature will keep rising till you get to your set temperature. Right underneath that, it's SV, which that is actually your set temperature. So when I say set temperature, so right now we have it set to 120. If I went ahead and I decided to bump that up to 125, the temperature right above that will actually raise, and this ring will actually start going back down and then back up, then back down and back up until it is fully at its temperature. So when this ring is completely green like this, you know that you are at your target temperature, which is really, really nice feature that not really any filament dryer that I've tested at least has that ability or has that feature. So it's kind of nice to have that. And you know, you're just kind of looking off into the distance. You don't have to even see the LCD. You don't have to look at anything else. You just know that, hey, that ring is working and it's good to go. Now, if that kind of annoys you, you can turn that completely off. You don't even have to have that. But I really think that that is a feature that should just be automatically incorporated in it. There's really no need to have a turned on or off feature for that. So I don't know why they did it, but like I said, some people might just not like it. That's completely up to them. But I do believe that that is a nice incorporated feature that should just be automatically included. Moving along, we have our time, and that's basically, we can set that anywhere from 1 minute all the way up to 99 hours. So it's got quite a time frame on it. So if you really need to dry your filament, you got plenty of time to do it. Unlike the previous models that only went for like 24 hours, I think it was, and then they basically shut off. This one goes up to 99. Now, I haven't tested to see if it actually goes all the way from 99 to there, but basically you set this time and it just keeps going, so I don't see why it wouldn't. Right now I've only had it on like 6-hour intervals, so that's good enough for me. But hey, if you want to go to the crazy route and go that high, all right, more power to you. Right below that, we also have another setting that is called material. Now, that ranges from various materials that you're obviously going to be using. PLA, PETG, TPU, ABS, PC, and I believe PA is the other one. I'm not sure if it says PA or PR because of the wording that the LCD is limited to, but it might be PA. But basically, those are the higher end filaments that consistently need a filament dryer like this. That's more or less what these are going to shine for, is stuff that is very, probably going to butcher this, but hydroscopic, which basically, like filament that gathers a lot of moisture. TPU is one of those, a very easy example, that you can basically let sit out, and no matter where you are in the world, that's going to collect some sort of moisture in it. So that's, a filament that you would want to be constantly dried, especially if you consistently use TPU. It just makes it for a far better printing experience, and you don't have to deal with, the mess of clogs and the disasters of having wet filament, basically. Then right below that is the LED. That's this ring, and you can turn it on or off. Then on the bottom, you have our set. Then to the right of that is the up, down, and on-off. Now, on-off is a double press feature. I'm guessing that's just to be a little bit more on the safe side, so you're not just accidentally turning it on or off when you're going to set something. It's kind of a good feature, but just a little wonky to me because I'm so used to just press on and off type thing. And then in the upper right-hand corner here, we have our humidity temperature. That basically lets us know, hey, this is what the humidity is right at that moment. So I'm going to show you guys up close exactly what everything does. And I'm probably going to cut my head off here on the camera. But basically, I wanted to show you guys exactly everything. So another cool feature that I didn't tell you guys is on here, we have it set to Fahrenheit. But it's kind of cool because you can set it to Celsius or Fahrenheit. So, and all you have to do is just basically go to set. Now we have our little arrow right there that's beeping, and we can press that up or down. And I don't know if you guys heard that little chirp. Let's see if we can catch it on audio. Probably not. But basically, we can toggle through there, and it gives you a little bit of audible noise. And we can go ahead and keep it at our temperature. So that's kind of cool. Now to move down to each and every menu, you can go ahead and set it. Now I'm going to set this for a little bit different target temperature. We're going to set it up to a little bit higher. And I'm going to show you guys that this LED ring, as you can see, it went off and now it's going up and then back down. And that's because we set our target temp at 123 degrees Fahrenheit, and we are currently set internally at 119. Now, I haven't had the chance to verify with my thermometer that this is actually hitting its target temp, but I will tell you that if it's not hitting the target temp, it's going to be very, very close because this is quite toasty right now at 120 degrees. So I will say that it is working far superior than what the original FilaDryer used to. So again, going down, you can go ahead and set your times. So you can go ahead and move that down. And like I said, we can go all the way down to 99. So 99 can be our time frame. So that's quite ridiculous. And then again, we can switch between different material. We have, let's start from the beginning. So like I said, we have PLA, PETG, TPU, ABS, PA or PR. I'm not sure which one that is. I'm guessing it's PA. And then PC for polycarbonate. So as you can see, we kind of just scroll through and there's automatically set temperatures for that. Now, the great thing about this is you don't necessarily have to base those off of those set temperatures. Everybody has their own little things. Like, take for example, I have this filament right here. This is called PVB. And what that filament is a filament that you can print normally, and it looks like regular PLA, but when you basically put it in something that has isopropyl alcohol and you kind of have it steam it, it'll smooth it out and have it like a glass-like finish. So it's really, really cool filament. It's very similar to something called Polysmooth, if I'm not mistaken. That's the name of it. So it's kind of like that. This is from Yusu, so this is their version of that. But I was told that that filament specifically gets very, very wet. It does absorb a lot of moisture. So something like this is definitely needed when you are wanting to print with that. This has been out and about for probably about 2 months, I want to say now. So it's probably not going to print very well if I were to throw it on one of my machines and, you know, just hit print. So I would want to put this in there at least overnight just to try and gain some of that back and then keep it in there while I was printing. So that way it can consistently keep heating this element and drying this filament out as best as it possibly can while it's printing, because obviously per layers, you know, you can only get through certain amount of layers, and that's basically all you can do for you know, to keep it as dry as possible. So keeping it in a unit like this while it's printing is the best ideal solution to make sure that it is consistently drying it out, because by the time, you know, you get to this section and then this section and this section, each and every section that you take off a layer, obviously it's going to be, you know, wet or damp even, compared to, you know, being fresh out of the bag. So that's what these things shine for. Obviously, if you went to go and, you know, take your filament and put it in a bucket of water and said, oh, well, I'm going to try this out, it's probably not going to work very well. And the reason for that is these only have a specific temperature regulation on them. So they only do so much. You know, they're meant to be small. They're not meant to, you know, basically dry out something that is insanely waterlogged, basically. For that, I suggest getting a food dehydrator and then utilizing this to make sure that you keep it basically not waterlogged anymore, but as dry as you possibly can. So let's go ahead and take a look inside, and I'll show you guys exactly how everything looks inside. So like I said, this is a very similar design to the FilaDryer S1, where we have a heating element and 2 rollers on the bottom there. The heating element is far superior than the FilaDryer S1. And then on the top here, we also have a heating element as well. And you can kind of see the patterning from the heating element. And they've done a very, very good job to make sure that everything is in place and nothing is going to be warping down the line or anything like that. So, and there are little heat elements here, you know, basically saying do not touch, because that's going to be very, very hot. And I wouldn't want to touch something that, well, it's at 50 degrees Celsius, which is like, what, maybe like 100 degrees or something like that. I'm not really sure. I can't, I can never translate that very well. But Yeah, basically, you don't want to touch this when it's on. That's basically the essential for it. Now, one of the oddball things I will say that I've seen when using this is it's better to have your filament path going up than it is over. I'm not saying that it is not possible to do the up and over, but it's better to go under and through. Just it's a better filament path for the way that this is set up, because here's our little filament guide, and just the way that it's set up is just, it's better to go straight up like that than it is to go across the front here. Again, it's not like it's, something you absolutely need to do, but maybe to keep this intact and, not destroy the fancy little hole that they got there. But that's completely up to you guys which way you want to roll it. I know that's a huge debate on a lot of things, is how the way filament is rolling off of something, and that you basically utilize it the way that you want to. But in my experience with this, it's a little bit easier to roll it off the bottom, which again, it's not essential because you're using the weight of the reel to basically use the filament path to get it up and out of there. So again, that's completely up to you guys. You can use it whichever way you want. And I'm sure they will probably have replacement parts for this, or you guys can probably print some if you have TPU. But basically, that's a little rubber grommet. It's a little heavier duty, it feels like. So, that way, if it starts wearing out, you can see, hey, I need to change this, and that way you're not destroying your entire thing. But even if you did, it's not the end of the world. You're still going to have a pretty good and closed system. So, I mean, even if we tear a hole in this over time, because obviously we know with plastic extruders that happens a lot. So, my best suggestion is to find the filament path of least resistance, basically. That's your best bet. But yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. One other cool kind of thing, I guess, for you guys that are more into like the retro thing, it does kind of look like a record player. Not a record player, but a record holder. Like, I can probably fit some 43s, right? I think that's right. I don't know. I can never remember what size of the records are, but it's kind of funny because it kind of looks like a record right here. So, and the same for the front. It's got that same type of rounded pattern on there. So, kind of cool to have that like retro style to it. I will say that this does feel a little bit more flimsy because it's obviously more plastic than the original FilaDryer. But I mean, that's not going to be a huge deal breaker for me. So, I mean, you guys take it as it is. And one of the other things I wanted to point out is it looks like they have this as possibly removable feet. Now, I haven't tested that out to see if, maybe they did that purposely so people can make some custom mounts for this and mount it on the extrusion rail. That would be really, really cool. But that's basically what it looks like from at least the interior, is that you can just remove these 2 screws and these 4 legs come popping off. And that way you can just mount it wherever you want. So that's kind of cool. The only other oddball thing that I will say is the way that it plugs in. I wish it was like the FilaDryer S1 where it had the plug in the back here, or yeah, basically on the sides in this case, instead of in the back, because, well, it's just kind of cumbersome, looking like that. It's just kind of an oddball deal in my opinion. But overall, it's a far superior design. They've definitely stepped up their game in terms of, listening to their customers and all the complaints that they had about this or that, and tried to make a far better printing experience for those who need filament dryers. Now, unfortunately, there's not really a link that I can share with you guys that you can buy this right now, but I will provide links that I do have to check out this product if you guys are interested in it. Right now I'm looking on us.sunlu.com, and it does say that it's out of stock, but you can get notified when the product is available. So you guys can go ahead and hit that. They do accept Visa, PayPal, Apple Pay, Google Play, MasterCard and some other type of pay. I'm not sure what it is. But yeah, they basically take all different types of forms of payment. And if you guys are wondering about the price on this, this is going to be about $40 more than the original FilaDryer. So it's going to come in right at $89. Again, I don't know if that's shipping included. I would think it would be. But if you are, one of those people who are going to be like, oh my God, that's an astounding amount of money, you got to think what you get for this. Like that is a far better filament dryer than anything else that's on the market currently, at least that I have seen or tested. Like I said, the only other one is their original FilaDryer that comes close to this. The other one would be like the dual filament dryers by Solvol that they had. But again, that's basically like a double version of the FilaDryer S1. So it does have its downfalls, but the upside to that is you can run two filaments on it. So I kind of like that in my opinion. But in terms of looks department, this one hands down wins it. And in terms of actual working products, this is still quite toasty. Like we were at 120 degrees Fahrenheit, and this is still really, really hot. And we haven't had it set to 120 degrees in a while. So I've had it unplugged for what, maybe about a minute or two now. So it should be coming down. So it definitely holds the temperature as best as it possibly can. So, but that's pretty much it, guys. If you like the video, go ahead and give that a thumbs up. If you are not subscribed to the channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Every little bit helps. And yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. Until next time, happy printing.